Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio.
So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world.
Time! 3 on the way. Oh! It went in! It went in! And Indiana wins the ball game!
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni!
Float game for the win! Ayler's gone. Goodbye. Touchdown, Indy. Woo! IU. America. They got a football team now.
It's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
Oh, now, here's Jim Coyle.
Hey, welcome aboard, everybody. It's a happy Thursday. Jim Coyle with you. Glad to be back in more ways than 10. And very happy to have Coach Griff along with me as well. Got to change the name of the show, Griff, to Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle and Coach Griff, because that's what it has become. But couldn't be happier to be here. Couldn't be happier to be here with you. Great day, great Thursday. I know we usually talk a lot of football on Thursday, and we'll probably follow along those lines, but mix a lot of other things in, as there's a lot else going on, especially in Indy up at the track this weekend. The Brickyard 400 will be rolling into town. So we talked to Chase Briscoe yesterday of the Joe Gibbs Racing team, but speaking of JGR, man, they're rocking and rolling. They and someone pointed out after the show that they actually have 4 drivers, that all 4 might be making the chase. They need to come up with a different name. There's too many Chases. You got Chase Briscoe and Chase Elliott and the Chase Race for the Chase. But yeah, they're rolling. Plus, Denny Hamlin is leading. And Ty Gibbs is between Denny and Chase Briscoe, so they're rocking and rolling. But there's a lot of things scheduled for the fans. These upcoming few days, you've got the hauler parade that goes on downtown Speedway, which is a cool thing going on. But then they've got the USAC sprint car racing. For those of you that are fans of sprint cars, they've got it on the dirt track, which is inside of the track, Coach, which is a very cool and unique thing. But what is it cool and unique about IMS, man? They just have turned that place into a racing.
Yeah,
the mic was muted, so am I good?
No, that was it. Just cut cut out there when you said right when you were talking about IMS.
But all kinds of good stuff going on. Indiana basketball, their schedule continues down in Peru. I wonder when you're down there, is it just Peru where you don't drink the water? Or do they bring their own water? James in the comments saying sprint cars is his favorite racing. Sprint cars are wild for those of you that aren't the fans or fans of it. That's the little wing cars a lot. They have some with and without wings, but that's the only sport where you're turning right to go left. In the corners of these dirt tracks. It's wild. But yeah, I meant to tell Chase Briscoe yesterday, man, next year I want to try to get, they've always had the dual seat Indy car where a driver will take someone around the track. I'd love to, they have one in NASCAR too. And I would love to do that. I'd love to get, I'm going to campaign to get that done next year, to go around that track. But it's not the track that I would truly like to go around, to be honest with you. One of those Atlanta or even Talladega, we got the high banks where they just leave it floored, man.
Yeah. No lifting there.
Dave asking, is Sam Alexis a candidate to join the roster this year? Not to my knowledge at all. I don't think he has any eligibility. I think the only reason he is playing with and on the team right now on the Team USA portion of IU is because it's Team USA and it's a lot more lax as far as the eligibility. He's an American, so maybe that's all it takes. I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you.
The only thing there is I don't know if he's one of those that would fit into where that lawsuit in Ohio was just got to stay for those basketball players that were not grandfathered in for the 22 class to get that 5 for 5. So if he hasn't played 5 years, there may be a possibility, I guess, from that angle, but I'd have to research that more to see if he is trying. That's where he's going to look at, because that injunction was just handed down a couple of weeks ago.
5 for 5 sounds like it's a marketing statement for something. I couldn't come up with anything funny, but 5 for 5. I can't think of that up. My man, Pete, I can't thank you enough. I'll have to get with you off the air and throw you something out. But yeah, I'll send you a text here. But my man, Pete, has been my man Pete has been one of my best friends since college. We became friends in college. Actually met in, I'm pretty sure we met in Kit Klingelhofer's class, and Kit was the sports information director at IU at the time for virtually everything. They only had him, and that was legend. It. But Pete has been a loyal friend ever since then. It was crazy because he had a job out in Portland, Oregon, and I ended up having a television job when I was a TV sports anchor, getting a TV job out in Washington State. We were about 3 hours apiece, and we would get to visit and enjoy some of the finer establishments of the Portland area. These were all places, like museums and whatnot. We would go to museums. You're not laughing, Coach, because you're not getting that's a fart as to what I'm saying. But
I was researching that Sam Alexis thing because I don't know, it was just on my mind there for a second. But Brian has got the kind of the lowdown there. He did play in the summer league, and that's all I know. But he would be the one with only playing 4 that maybe try to fitting in under the 5 for 5, that new rule. So we'll see. That'd be great. That would be a great comeback, though, wouldn't it? Get him back for another year.
Yeah, well, that would be, but they have such a litany of big guys.
Yeah, that's true too.
It would be, though, because he was one of the few players that they could count on game in and game out last year. And I've spoken, you could tell the kind of guy he is. He is finishing up his degree. John Daly, hand nachos and the Acropolis. See, I wasn't even going to go that far. I forgot about, but John Daly is a different thing because me and Pete went to, I covered an event called the daggone it. My mind is not working right, but Peter followed up there. Peter Jacobson, former PGA golfer that he has his own, I don't know if he still has it anymore, but he had his own pro-am out there on a Monday, and Bob Knight was in it. I can't even remember who all was in it, but we went to where the all the guys were hanging out at their hotel. Fuzzy Zeller and Payne Stewart was there playing keyboards. It was a wild affair, but Pete kept buying drinks for John Daly, and he was drinking something called a Midori Sour. And it doesn't even sound good right now, but he kept feeding John these Midori Sours and John had this big old plate of nachos, and he was like, "Hey man, here, help me eat these nachos." Just funny as all get out.
Yeah,
but,
well,
Pete has been there, buddy.
I was going to say John Daly. Yeah, he wouldn't turn down a free drink.
No, but and back then he had just hit the big time, man. This was, I think, I'm not going to date myself, but he had just won big. So yeah, it was not the yeah, he had just become something.
Yes.
But fun times have always been had with my man Pete. Got to hang out with his family at various times, and still to this day, his brother has a master's pool that he puts together that is extraordinarily fun. I got lucky and won it a couple of years ago, but yeah, my man Pete has been one of the best from day one, and he still is and always will be. He's just a great dude. Hell, we played intramural basketball together at IU when we were in school together at IU. So
great times.
Absolutely. What else we got going on, man? Like I said, there's all the Brickyard stuff that's happening this weekend. Indiana football. I've been reading up on various rankings of who thinks who's going to do what. And, Josh Hoover, looking forward. And I was thinking how funny it's going to be if Josh Hoover has, which I expect him to, has a year of greatly reduced turnovers as opposed to last year, just like Fernando Mendoza did not get sacked 41 times last year like he did the year before at Cal. So, and if so, then that means Kurt Cignetti is going to have a big, gigantic silver platter of crow for Sonny Dykes to devour and take that down. So looking forward to that. All kinds of good stuff. I think does IU basketball play again today? I was thinking they played again yesterday, but maybe it's today.
Today at, I think it's another 6:00 tip from my understanding, but that could change.
And the games were very difficult to keep up with the other day. I know Cheryl, I was chatting with Cheryl offline, and she was not having fun finding it. I tuned in for it, and I was seeing medals being given away for women's weightlifting, but the comments were hilarious. I mean, the rest of the world is seeing this, and all IU fans were like, "Get this crap off of here! Nobody cares about this crap." So, looking forward to it, and I don't know if we'll have comments from Darren DeVries today or not. I don't think I sent that to you, but just a lot of positives for IU's fan base, and they'll get excited, and so it'll be a great day no matter what.
Yeah, it's just heating up right now. You got that going on with the tour there in Peru, and of course the Big Ten Media Days kick off next week, as the SEC Media Days, I believe, have one more day today there in Tampa, Florida, for them to still cry over spilt milk with all the complaining about scheduling and things of that nature, and how weak of schedule that they're still complaining, or not just the SEC, but even some of the commentators from down south are still complaining about Indiana's non-conference schedule a year ago and who they played in the Big Ten. It's crazy. I just don't understand why they keep bringing it up and crying over it.
It's got nothing else to complain about.
That's
even if they got their ass beat. I'm like, you got your ass handed to you, not just by Indiana, but by other people as well. But the Big Ten did a job on you, just did a number on you. And so it's as if they want the world to, let's ignore the head-to-head competition. Let's ignore what really happened, and we'll create something that's a falsehood because we've got nothing else to do. And Father Sankey has said that this is what we should do because everyone always believed what we say. You know what? I'm starting to give I care less and less about the SEC each day. And if it wasn't for ESPN, I don't know that anybody would care about the SEC anymore. The days are over. It's funny how they don't talk about how the days where they were paying players under the table left and right during the time where players had it very difficult to transfer. So it's funny how they don't mention that and don't want to talk about that. But no, let's talk about some stuff we can create. But
their biggest excuse, their biggest excuse now is that because of the schedule they play, by the time they got to the playoffs and the bowl games, every SEC team was beat up. As if not, I mean, everybody's beat up at that time of year. I mean, look at Indiana. They lost Stephen Daly. They're one of their best D linemen heading into the tourney. Yeah. So it gets.
Well, they lost somebody before that. Stephen Daly took somebody else's place.
Yeah. I can't remember his name right now, but anyway, it's the excuse making I've never heard as much as I've heard in the last year that a conference, including the sportscasters that cover that conference, make. It just blows my mind. So
I'm not going to be surprised anymore. What I am only surprised about are people that are ignorant enough to buy their line of crap. If you want to buy it, fine. Go down the street to the store that sells crap and have at it. Buy all you want. But done with it, over with it. Now, the one thing that these leagues, the Big Ten and whatnot, they need to take care of business and handle the SEC one more time. Lock them out of the championship game again. And see what new line they want to come up with. What can you come up with now? Because it's the proof is in the pudding, baby.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. It's head to head playing each other, whether it's at the beginning of the year, middle of the year, at the end of the year. It still counts the same. It's either a win or a loss. And right now, the Big Ten has done that for 3 straight seasons where they've had a pretty dominant postseason run, national championship, bowl wins, and things of that nature. And again, it's like a typical loser will, instead of wanting to take responsibility for something, they want to place the blame elsewhere. So, but I do think the Big Ten is going to be great next week to see how they respond to some of these, I don't know, criticisms, I guess, but that will be a great question that I think Sig will get, and I'm sure he'll give a great answer to it.
All right. Brian says it's tonight at 6 p.m. for the Hoosiers taking on Virgin Islands. So there you go with that. Have fun trying to track that down. I will try to do that. And then he also points out that the Fever were hot last night. When is the Fever not hot? Just a joke there. But now you've opened up a can of worms that I was Juan Fisher. That's funny, Brian. I got to give that one to you. Welcome to this is Juan Fisher bringing you the Indiana Hoosiers basketball. That's funny. I like that. But all right, let's get back to the Fever. I have been stewing on this. Caitlin Clark had a massive game last week with the 45-10.
Yeah.
She's an incredible player. No doubt about this. She is a generational player. But here's the one thing I am sick and tired of. I'm sick and tired of the whining and the moaning of her being, like when the girl put her fist on her throat or whatnot. Would Larry Bird have let you put your fist on his throat? Would Michael Jordan have let you put his fist on your throat? What would they have done? They would have grabbed your fist with one hand and punched you in the face with the other. She has not defended herself one time. To me, that's been a big part of this. She wants to just, play the victim and everything and cry and moan. Hey, stand up for yourself. Stop having to have your teammates do it. You stand up for yourself. And I may be alone in that, and that's fine. I can be a psychopath sometimes in that regards, but stand up for yourself. Stop being a little whiny moaner. Do something on your own. Crack somebody once. That's part of the reason why they do it, because you allow them to do it. And we'll get Schutte Dustin in on that discussion. I'll throw him under the bus under it. He don't even know what I'm talking about. But but we'll take a break because we don't want to get too deep. I didn't even realize we were that deep in already.
Yeah,
so
you're rolling. Yep.
I'm rolling, baby. Got it rolling.
More.
We
Indiana
got
Sports
Schutte
Beat.
Dustin coming up. Yeah, with the coach right after these messages.
Andy Moore Honda Bloomington has the deals for you, like great savings on the remaining 2025 Hondas. First-time buyers get more than expected. The Honda Civic and HR-V are the most popular vehicles for first-time buyers in the U.S. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington also has a quality selection of pre-certified used vehicles. And check out the selection of Andy Moore Honda Bloomington's 2026 models, like the Honda Passport, Honda CR-V Hybrid, Honda Ridgeline, and more. ISB Radio with Jim Coyle is brought to you exclusively on The Zone by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemoreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage, and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Bored, Bloomington? Dave & Buster's can fix that. Eat and drink your way through our all-new menu. Play half-price games every Sunday through Thursday. Watch all your team's wins on a 40-foot screen and 30 HD TVs. And level all up with the high-flying human crane that puts you in the game. Private game suites, our exclusive arena, and more. Only at Dave & Buster's on 731 South College Mall Road.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Thursday, and that means a visit from our good friend, Schutte Dustin. Man, I don't know why. I hate that you could not have – we should have gotten you to do Dustin B. Schutte or something, so I would have never gone down that path. I can't get it out of my brain now. But Dustin Schutte from Boilers on SI joining us now. But what I was and Coach, of course – but what I was not really throwing you under the bus about, but just I was talking about Caitlin Clark in the WNBA and how I was tired. I was sick and tired of listening to poor Caitlin Clark and poor me. And oh my, they're doing this to me and they're doing that. And it was her teammates that were always having to step up and protect her. And I'm like, hey, how about you protect yourself? How about instead of letting somebody put their fist in your throat, you grab them by the wrist and you punch them in the face with your other hand? Do something, because if this were the men, Larry Bird ain't letting that happen. Magic Johnson ain't letting that happen. Michael Jordan ain't letting that happen. Ain't nobody letting that happen. But she wants to play the victim, and partly I think it's because, I got to protect my sponsor.
Well, we must have lost him there for a second. There he is.
Yeah, I got a little tired of the victim mode, and I'm just I'm over it. But and I know that a lot of people are going to have a very different take on it, and that's fine. I can be a jackleg when it comes to some of that stuff, or maybe it's the pain meds. I don't know, one of the two. But hey, so what do you think about that?
Yeah, well, good to have you back on the show, Jim. I'm glad you're doing better. That's first and
Great
foremost.
to see you, buddy. Great to see you, my friend.
I would say I don't disagree with what you're saying. I actually think like this was a big part I remember covering her when I covered Indiana, some of the Iowa games that they played. And I mean, like IU fans weren't a fan of her because of some of the antics she pulled anyway. There was a lot of constant complaining to the officials. There's a lot of stuff she got away with in the college game, and she's just not getting away with it in the WNBA. And it seems like she's shocked by this. And look, I think she's a great player. She's an immense talent, but you also like this is to me is LeBron James level of whining that we see from her. And it's very unappealing. And she's not the only one that does this. It obviously gets, what's the word? It gets magnified because she is so great. But yeah, I mean, like to a point you say this to some of the players that like in the NBA that I like sometimes you just get to a point, like just go play. You let the officials do the officiating. Let Stephanie White do her job, which she's been very defensive of Caitlin, probably more so than Christy Sides was. But like, I don't know. You got to just go out there and play and toughen up a little. Like that's part of the game. This is a league that, and people can say what they want. It is the most competitive league in American sports because there are so few teams and there are so few players who can make a roster. So there's going to be people that are out there to prove a point and make a statement. And I think it's good that she has teammates that are willing to defend her and have her back and get in the middle. There are always like the funny thing to me is I'm probably talking out of both sides of my mouth because we used to love that about Reggie Miller, right? Like, but Reggie had guys like Dale Davis, Antonio Davis, Derek McKee, those guys who would get in between, but also Reggie wasn't afraid of the fight. Like he would take it, he would take it to him. He mostly ran his mouth. But to me, it's like Caitlin talks a lot, but then when she's met with some sort of physicality, it's everybody else who's getting. So I don't know. I know she's a polarizing figure. It seems like you either love her or you hate her. I just wish we could watch her play basketball without having 9 million different opinions. And like it just doesn't matter where you go. You're going to get some sort of blowback no matter what you say. But I think I mostly agree with you. Like I've gotten to the point with her where it's just like, just go play basketball. I'm tired of watching you complain to the officials. And it's something she did her entire college career too.
I do not. You have hit the nail right on the head. So there's nothing for me to add to that. You did it. You said it perfectly. And I cannot even add to it to make, I would detract if I said anything. So there's that. And we're not going to lay on that subject all day long. So how's everything else going with you? I know that we've talked and are talking about Indiana. They're down in Peru playing. So not a lot of things going on for several other teams. But more and more teams are getting to do different things, whether it's outside the country. I know that Purdue has made a life in Canada. It seems like in the last couple of years, they must really like Molson beer. I don't know what it is, but are they going anywhere this season?
Yeah, they are. They're going to be in Canada. They leave on, I believe they're leaving on Friday, and their first game is going to be Saturday. They're going to spend that entire trip in Canada. We were actually able to catch them in practice on Tuesday. Media was able to check them out. And, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how this group kind of gels together I got distracted. I just saw that Jim's thing says patient 0 and it made me laugh. So it derailed me. You know, I think this is going to be the most interesting offseason Purdue has had in quite some time because you are losing 4 starters and 3 players who have been a fixture of your program for so long. How does this new group gel together? I think Caden Pierce, the former Ivy League Player of the Year, I was able to see him. Looks really good. He looks like a leader, got a lot of athleticism, maybe a little bit undersized at the 4 position at 6'6", 6'7". But I think he provides floor spacing and the leadership that they need. Antoine West Jr. is a kid that redshirted last year, but he can light it up in a hurry. He's gotten really good on the defensive end, and he's a much better passer than he was a season ago. And I say that, you know, we only ever saw him on scout team and in some of those preseason practices, but it looks like his game has really evolved. But there's going to be a lot of players that need to take a big step up. Daniel Jacobson, 7'4", looked like the grind of the college basketball season kind of wore him down in the post last season. Raleigh Burgess is coming off of injury, 6'11", but he's a guy that can play the 5 and can knock down shots from behind the perimeter. Right now, I would say that Omer Meyer is probably their leading point guard. Seems like Luke Ertl still has some hurdles to go through in terms of getting up to speed and playing on 2 feet and some things. He looks really good, but there are times where he kind of makes those freshman mistakes. He'll undoubtedly play this season, but I think Omer is the lead point guard in that room. So just interesting, and I know they're hoping to figure out a lot of things on this Canada trip, and they are taking full advantage of the new NCAA changes. Like they have a 4-game international trip that they'll play 4 games in 5 days in July. And then, you go fast forward to the exhibition series and they'll play 3 games, a home game, a road game, and then a neutral site game against UConn. So this team's going to have 7 games of practice, preparation, working together, getting, developing that team chemistry before they play one that counts towards their record. So I think they're taking full advantage of the NCAA rule changes, and this is quite the year to take advantage of that.
Coach, I don't recall if it was Dustin that I was talking about this with or somebody else, because it seems like it was more recently, but about pressure on Purdue's football coach this season. More, when were we having that discussion?
Well, it was.
What was it with Dustin or not?
No, it wasn't with Dustin, but it was on this week. I can't remember who was that discussion was actually with, but I think the conversation did center around, even though it's year 2 and you have a new administrative staff stepping in, how does that affect him in year 2 as it pertains to feeling a little bit of the heat, on the hot seat type of deal, even though it's year 2.
Yeah, and because it is only year 2, and it seems like, wow, that's not really fair. And to be honest with you, it's not really fair, because that's really warp speed of getting things moved up. But unfortunately, these days you don't have a choice. And then Kurt Cignetti has really thrown that thing on its ear by doing what he did. So I'm sure the coaches are saying, thanks a lot, Cignetti. We really appreciate you doing that. But it's more along the fact to me that it's just year 2 with this coach. They had 2 years of junk with their previous coach. And then that leads back to how much does Purdue actually care about football now, because they were having a lot of success in basketball, although not the ultimate success. But football is the engine that drives the train, especially financially, and in a lot of other ways now. And you have to have a program that they don't have to year in and year out be at the top, but they've got to be able to compete in that level. And Purdue, though having had great success in the past, I mean, way more success than Indiana could ever have dreamed of in the past. They've had years where, man, they were really good, even years where they beat Ohio State 3 seasons in a row. I mean, just a lot of good, positive things. But those days have passed, and man, they've really fallen behind in the football realm. So that adds more pressure to a coach, even though hell, he wasn't even there for part of that. So, but how much care is there actually there? Because I don't hear a lot of Purdue. Man, they've added this in the NIL, they're doing that, and this is not to knock on them. It's something for us to talk about.
Yeah, I can tell you that they do care. They do want that program to be up and running, but they are also in that transition phase, as you mentioned. They're going to have a new athletic director next year, or start of the year. So in the middle of the academic year, they'll have a new athletic director, and I mean they're they are investing. Now, it's obviously not going to be at the same level of some of the other programs. I would say even Indiana's probably invested more on the football side of things now that they've had that success. And so you've got to have a little bit of both, right? You got to have somebody that you got to have people that are willing to buy into the program right now when it's low, and you're going to need some players to help get you to that next level. But you're also going to have some level of success to where donors are feeling like they're getting a return on their investment. They don't want to pour in a ton of money for a 2-10 season. So it's kind of a double-edged sword there. So, we'll see. They did, again, I've mentioned this probably 18 times on this show, so I apologize for sounding like a broken record, but they did not spend all of their money in Odom's first year that they had available.
How do you not do that?
The big reason was they didn't feel like they didn't want to overspend for players. So they wanted to reserve some of the money that they had and use it towards this season. So now that they have some of that money left over, they felt like they were able to go out and get better players. They were able to bolster that running back room. They were able to add some playmakers at wide receiver. They were able to get guys who had produced on the defensive line and at the edge rusher position. So they were able to bolster their roster. They didn't want to just throw a bunch of money to guys that they didn't think were going to make a difference. And if you would have invested all of that money last season and got out a 2-10 year, you would have been like, well, it feels like wasted dollars at this point. Now you feel like there's an investment there. And if you can see some level of improvement, even if that's 5 wins, you're at least knocking on the door of bowl eligibility. You're playing for something at that point in November. So to me, there is a lot of investment there. The interesting thing is the Barry Odom situation. Now, I don't think he's going to be on the hot seat this year, but I certainly understand, like, athletic directors want their guy in there. They want the guy that they hired to be in those positions. So it does put Barry Odom in an interesting situation. I wouldn't say he's on the hot seat in any regard this year, but let's say Purdue goes 3-9. If they really struggle again this year, he's going to be feeling the heat in year 3 for certain. And
that's unheard of. And that would really be unheard of for any program to have gotten rid of one coach after 2 years and then turn around and have another coach on the hot seat after 2 more seasons.
And that is where I think that there is a little bit of security there for Barry. Again, you have to have some level of success. You have to show that you're pushing the program forward. There was no doubt, like, the program was falling backwards, spiraling out of control under Ryan Walters. You had to make that change. But if Barry Odom shows that you can get, even 4 or 5 wins, I think is progress. Like, again, we're never talking about the Indiana type success at Purdue immediately. If you can show that you're improving, if you're more competitive, if you win some Big Ten games this year, that's a step in the right direction. And the other thing that I think helps Barry Odom in this situation is you've gone through. Now, Ryan Walters, you would have gone through Barry Odom. So let's say you make 2 coaching changes in 5 seasons. This job is already not very appealing to a lot of people. It's going to be even less appealing if you don't hold a coach for more than 3 seasons, right? Like, so it makes the coaching search a lot more difficult. I remember Jeff Brom saying, like, there were a lot of people that when he was candidate number 1 telling him, don't take that job. It's an impossible job. He took it and he really turned things around for Purdue, got into the Big Ten championship game in 2022, had 2 really, really good seasons in 2021 and 22, but it's just not an appealing job. So there has to be some sense of longevity and some sort of comfort that you're going to be able, comfort's not the right word, but that you're going to have some sort of leniency, that you have time to get the program up and running. And I do think Purdue's going to be better this season. I've gone through their not their depth chart, but I've gone through their roster. They have added a lot of production. They're in a lot deeper at a lot more positions this year. There are still some key questions out there, but and you look at the schedule, they don't have to play Ohio State. They don't have Michigan. They don't have Oregon. They don't have USC. Those teams have been, consistently on Purdue's schedule for the past couple seasons.
Besides Indiana, what are their couple toughest Big Ten games?
No, out of conference is Wake Forest and Notre Dame. So
right,
won 9 games.
We're going to get to the out of conference because I think that's part of their problem. But I shouldn't say problem. Part of the issue. But what are the toughest besides Indiana? What are the 2 toughest in conference games?
Yeah, so I think outside of, and this is the nice thing, I think if you're Purdue, you look at the schedule, and I don't think based on what we saw last year, there aren't any outside of Indiana. I don't think there's any games you'd label as unwinnable. You have on the road at UCLA, on the road at Illinois, you're home against Minnesota, home against Washington. That would probably be up there with the toughest game. On the road at Penn State, but again, Penn State won 6 games last season, new coaching staff, new roster there. So what do you expect there? At Iowa, in my opinion, is probably the second toughest game on that schedule. You could probably flip-flop between at Penn State and at Iowa. Those are probably the 2 toughest, and then home against Washington. But again, Washington hasn't been great away from home, making those long West Coast trips to the Midwest. Maryland has been a bottom feeder in the Big Ten. Wisconsin hasn't gotten anything going under Luke Fickell. So Minnesota is a team that is really, I know they consistently get 8 or 9 wins, but they seem to always lay an egg. So who's to say that can't be? Purdue should have beat Minnesota last year at Minnesota. So who's to say they can't win that game? Like this schedule is much easier and creates a much better path to 6 wins, in my opinion, because you do avoid so many of those top tier teams other than the reigning champions.
Yeah, and then now what I was going to say is they're in out of conference schedule. That's where they have just hurt themselves, really. Playing Notre Dame, it looks good on paper, but no, it doesn't. You're going to get your ass kicked, handed to you, because Notre Dame is really, they're at the top end play right now. And then you add in a team like Wake Forest, which, not that they're great, but it's a tough deal. It's a tough out of conference games. They should have followed the path that Indiana should not have done. Indiana should not have bought themselves out of some of those games they bought out of, Louisville and Virginia. But I think that Purdue probably should have bought out of and added some weak-ass games, get some wins, get some confidence, get some things rolling. But, hey, what do I know? And who am I? Nobody.
Well, I can tell you that a lot of fans agree with you. They want to get 3 wins in the non-conference and then only have to win 3 games to get to a bowl game. So a lot of this was done under Jeff Brom. He wanted to bring in big-time opponents. He wanted to challenge his team early in the season. He wanted that Notre Dame game back on the schedule. I think secretly a lot of Purdue fans wanted it back on the schedule just because of the history there. I know Purdue hasn't been incredibly successful in that series, but there is a lot of history there. So to me, at the very least, I would have maybe if I'm in charge, and I would have probably kept Notre Dame, but then, added that second, eliminated the Wake Forests and some of the other opponents that they played, Oregon State a few years ago, just add a MAC team or something so you can at least get 2 wins. And then if you want to keep the rivalry game with Notre Dame, fine. It's not a permanent series. I think they're playing 8 total games in this series. I can't remember. It's either 6 or 8. But yeah, they're certainly not helping themselves. And to your point, Jim, a lot of fans have said, why don't we just scrap these games, add 3 cupcake opponents, try to get 3 wins, and then in the Big Ten you only need 3 wins to get to bowl eligibility, and then maybe that really helps you in terms of recruiting, transfer portal, all these other areas, NIL, donations, things like that. So that way you can really start to get up and hopefully compete near the top of the Big Ten. But as much as I think Purdue has improved, I think they're still at least a couple years away from having that type of season or that type of team that can compete at the top of the Big Ten and at least, make a run at the college football playoff in November.
I agree, my friend. I don't know if you're able to come back later, but I know we've got Matt Taylor coming up next. So we've got to take a break. We've got more coming up. Coach Griff is with us. Matt Taylor up next. We'll see about Schutte Dustin. Back with more right after these messages.
The ISC Sports Network is your home for sports content across the Hoosier State. Find us live on TV and streaming or archived on our website and our app. The ISC is your one-stop shop for the content you want to see, including high school sports, college sports, and other great events throughout the year. Subscribe to our streaming service and get access to it all. ISC. Local lives here.
If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemoreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Andy Moore Honda Bloomington has the deals for you, like great savings on the remaining 2025 Hondas. First-time buyers get more than expected. The Honda Civic and HR-V are the most popular vehicles for first-time buyers in the U.S. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington also has a quality selection of pre-certified used vehicles. And check out the selection of Andy Moore Honda Bloomington's 2026 models, like the Honda Passport, Honda CR-V Hybrid, Honda Ridgeline, and more. ISB Radio with Jim Coyle is brought to you exclusively on The Zone by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer.
Dave & Buster's Bloomington is the place to eat, drink, play, and watch. Enjoy half-price games every Sunday through Thursday, a new menu to dig into, and next-level upgrades like private game suites, the high-flying human crane that puts you in the game, our exclusive arena, and more. Only at Dave & Buster's Bloomington, 731 South College Mall Road.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Speed Radio on this Thursday. Glad to be with you. Glad to have you along. I hope everyone notices my new haircut as well. I snuck that one in on you. Looking for Matt Taylor joining us as well. Matt, my hair looks better than yours does. Not sure if Matt can hear us or not, but well, Matt, are you there, my brother? Maybe, maybe not, but we'll focus more on my
there he is, I think.
My hair.
Well, maybe not.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure if he knows he's ready, but maybe he's getting a new haircut. But we'll see how that goes. But I guess we're gonna have to wait till Matt jumps in. He's speechless after that. Yeah. So Matt, whenever you can hear us, you just start talking and we'll shut up. But yeah, hopefully we can get Dustin back on because that was a short segment.
He's going to come back at 10.
Perfect. At the top of the hour. There you go. Yeah, at the top of the hour, not necessarily 10, but perfect. And I know they're getting closer and closer to things. Matt Taylor has entered the studio. We always love to see that. How are you, sir? How are you doing?
I'm good, guys. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I guess that means you probably can't see my new haircut on my avatar, can you?
I'm driving right now, man. Are we rocking a new mullet? Is that what you're getting at? What are we doing?
Well, you can't see it, so it takes away the fun of it. But so no, it's not. Yeah, I'm looking. I got the Joe Dierte going on. Figured while I was in here, I would get more modernized.
Yeah, if anybody could pull that off, it is my main man, Jim.
Actually, I've got a picture of Brad Pitt up there.
A young Brad Pitt at that.
Even better, you can pull that off too, man. It doesn't matter what you got working, you're striking.
Yeah, I wish. Hey, how are you doing, brother? What's new with you? How's the kiddos? I know that the summertime you had a lot going on. Your Matt coaches is some baseball. How's the baseball going, or how did he go?
Baseball is good. It's over. His rec league is done, and so yeah, the Southside Edgewood Pirates finished. I think we were like 10-5, and we came up short in the semifinals of the rec tournament. We lost to the Yankees. They put it on us pretty good. I think we lost like 15-5 or something like that. But the kids had a really good time. My son really enjoyed it, and we got better as the season went on. And my daughter's still doing softball. She's doing softball all-star league, and so she's still enjoying that. And so we're still going to games, and our schedule's still pretty full. We've worked in some trips and day trips and some vacations along the way. So it's been a very busy but very good summer that's about to come to a close here.
Yeah, when I was playing Little League Baseball, I wish that we would have had the names like the Reds or, the Yankees, these venerable names. We didn't. I was Oak Drugs. We had the sponsor. We had the sponsor names. I'm like, oh man, why couldn't we have had these great names? But no, we had these goofy sponsors like Joe's Smooth Store or something crazy.
And my wife jokes about that too, because growing up, she played rec softball, and her team was just called Arby's. They were the sponsor. They were just the Arby's team.
Hey, I'd take an Arby's. I'd take Arby's over Oak Drugs. Hey, I would love some Arby's right now. You know what, Pete? If you're still listening, that sounds delicious. Some Arby's. Yeah. Who doesn't love Arby's? Some good Arby's sauce. I love the cool sauces that are unique. Arby's sauce. Love me some Arby's sauce. I buy the Taco Bell sauce at the store all the time and use that for stuff. I really do love it, but love me some Arby's sauce, man. It's a good stuff. Now I've lost everybody. Coach, you feel free to stay in on this.
Yeah,
I got you. Staying in anyway.
Yeah, he must, again, we've had this phone problem the last couple of days with people going out of range, but that does sound good, by the way, what you ordered there. I was writing it down so I can have a reminder later, because I'm like you a little bit today, a little bit of that brain fog. I won't remember what you said if I don't write it down. But anyway.
And I've got to say, Brian says the horsey sauce for the win. I don't know that I've ever even tried the horsey sauce because it wasn't too long ago. I was not in. We're talking sauces now, Matt. We moved on to. We were talking Arby's sauce. I'm like, who doesn't love some good Arby's sauce? And I do, but also I've never had or tried the horsey sauce. Although, and I'm throwing out all kinds of free commercials here today. One of my favorite condiments in the world now, is the St. Elmo's horseradish sauce. Oh, man, yeah. I put that beep on everything. I mean, I put it on steak. It is super, super good. And this is coming from somebody who 5 years ago probably didn't eat mushrooms or certain things like that. Now I eat it all.
Wow.
But love me some horseradish sauce from St. Elmo's. I mean, that's some good biz.
Well, I didn't mean to turn this into the sauce talk, but I'm all about it. I mean, I can talk condiments with the best of them. So apologies for the technical difficulties. I always have trouble with the audio on the phone, so apologies on my end.
You know what? You should create a new podcast where you talk nothing but sauces in the voice of Don Fisher.
Oh, yeah.
Wait a minute. Juan Fisher. We got to give one of our listeners credit. Indiana basketball is down in Peru playing basketball, and he said he thought it was Juan Fisher doing the games now. I'm like, well, that's kind of funny. So you could do Juan Fisher and his hot sauce cabaret.
Well, anytime I go to Chick-fil-A, I'll take a side of buffalo sauce, a side of ranch, and the world-famous Chick-fil-A sauce to dip in your chicken. It is absolutely delicious.
Man, I love Matt Taylor for so many reasons. That's just one of them. But, man, you were awesome. So I'm glad to see baseball went well. I'm glad to see your managerial experience. Did you win Manager of the Year?
No, I should have. I got snubbed, man. I was pissed. I picked up third base, and I threw that bad boy like Lou Piniella when the awards came out. I was hot.
Yes! Love it! As you should have, because I know you deserved it, baby. Just being there.
Yeah, it was. I'm full of protests, and they will hear about it at the next coaches meeting next March when we do the draft. I mean, that will be the first thing brought up.
Absolutely. So I want to know who votes. So what's coming up next for you, though, in the real world of sports and NFL and the Colts?
Well, the real world's about to get real. Training camp for the Colts starts next week. So report day for the players is coming up next Tuesday. And then first practice is next Wednesday. So a week from yesterday. And so once the Colts get going, I mean, they're going to hit the ground running. They're going to practice next week on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday before they get their first day off. So you want it, here it is. Football is essentially back. We just got to wait a couple of more days. But then we're going to get some progress on all of these juicy and important storylines for the Colts. You know, like where's Daniel Jones, and is Alec Pierce going to start the season on or the training camp portion of the season, I should say, because that's a big difference. But, is he going to be available, or is he going to be on PUP? Where's DeForest Buckner? And we're going to see some of these position battles start to take shape too. So a lot of Colts news and storylines are about to flood your timelines, as they say.
Well, and before we let that slip by, you've got so much going out that you are a part of or ahead of or voice of, in addition to the Colts, the news, there's the podcast and all of that. What are some of the various podcasts that you are directly involved in or the Colts produce?
Yeah, I mean, we got a fleet of radio shows that we do that air on our flagship station in Indianapolis on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. But then you're right. I mean, the digital inventory that we do. So starting in a couple of weeks, we'll have the podcast that I'm involved with. It's called the Jack Doyle Podcast, which is, brilliantly named with Jack Doyle, former Colts tight end. And I host that. And that's just sort of an inside player's look at the state of the team and Jack's experiences and sharing stories and kind of getting behind the curtain with Jack, who's a great guy and I think a good team ambassador. And then Inside Football with the great Rick Venturi. That's a very X's and O's and Jimmy's and Joe's type podcast. So if you want to learn about football and have Rick give his unfiltered takes and opinions on the state of the team and the strengths and weaknesses, I mean, that's the show for you. And then we also have a couple of other things that we got going on with other folks, with player interviews that we're always doing. And so it really is about to pick up big time. And you can check all of that out on Colts.com. Or anywhere you download your podcast, Spotify, iTunes, just search Colts, and we should pop up right there for you.
Well, you really could have expanded your repertoire had it been the Jack and Harry Doyle podcast. And I don't know how good of a impersonation you have of the late, great
Bob Uecker. Bob Uecker.
But as Harry Doyle, that would be phenomenal. Oh man, that would be a great one too. And you're going to have your own side career as doing that kind of stuff because you do such a great job at it. But man, they're just hilarious. Without even trying to be funny, they're all automatically funny.
Well, I mean, I grew up listening to I grew up listening to Don Fisher, and I think I say this all the time, and hopefully he appreciates it, which I think that he does. But I mean, if anybody can impersonate you, it means you're worth being paid attention to. It means people are listening to you, and I think it's a form of flattery. And so I mean, I grew up listening to him, and then I also listened to. I mean, I tell a story all the time. I was that quintessential, 10-year-old kid that would sneak a transistor radio into their bed at night under the pillow, trying to listen to the end of Monday Night Football with Marv Albert and Boomer Esiason on Westwood One, brought to you by Barbasol. You know what I mean? Like that was just that was it, Boomer Esiason, the Cowboys and the Eagles are tied at 10 with 4:05 to go in the third quarter.
What a talent. I mean, I'm serious. That is a talent. I mean, we know that we've got the people like, what's the guy who does all the sports stuff? Oh, daggone it. He's on Indianapolis Radio a lot. I can't think of his name. He's on Fox all the time. Does a lot of the sports guys, but anyway.
Frank Caliendo, right?
Yeah. Frank Caliendo. He's second grade to you, but yours are just great. I love them. And, but yeah, I think you could, a little second career there, but that would be fun stuff. But more fun is all of the things that are coming up. People, for the fans, and the Colts have continued to be just such an open organization, involving the fans, the practices, camps, and all of that they're able to go out to. They're kind of a leader in that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can't express that enough or agree with that enough. I mean, coming up here at Graham Park in Westfield, I mean, you got 13 open practices. You'll have a couple of thousand fans up there every single day. You'll have player autographs, and it really is something for everybody. I mean, really, truly. I mean, if you're a hardcore football fan, obviously you're going up there to watch the football storylines and, hit it hard with the X's and O's and all of that stuff. But, if you got a family, bring the kids up there with Colt City, the interactive play area, for the kiddos. I mean, that's always top notch. Blues out there, cheerleaders are out there signing autographs. So, I mean, it really is a fun, unique experience. And I think a lot of Colts fans enjoy it, take advantage of it, and really, really have fun with it leading up to the start of the regular season to build up some hype and some hope for this team.
Coach, go ahead and jump in.
Yeah, we've been talking, a little bit over your time off, Jim, about kind of where this Colt offense is, and more importantly, where Daniel Jones is at with his rehab and, from that injury he had last year. And I guess it's fair to say, Matt, that he should be pretty well healed to the point where he should be able to be hit camp running this summer. But then again, I don't want to say that for certain because I haven't heard anything for certain on that. But I guess you could fill us in about Daniel Jones and his progress and everything that goes with that.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be out there. I mean, physically, I think he's definitely going to be to the point where he's going to be very active in training camp right away with the goal in mind that he's going to be active and close to full go by the start of the regular season, week 1. I just think the biggest things that he's going to have to do are just check those final finishing touch boxes, if you will, find that extra layer of explosivity, the trust that he's going to have mentally with the injury, the side-to-side movement inside the pocket. I mean, basically everything that he did to me in the offseason workout program was so ahead of schedule on what my expectations were for him going into the springtime. So he did everything except for 11-on-11 work. He did 7-on-7. He did individual periods. He was sprinting. He was moving. He was showing conditioning and running. Now, to be fair, he wasn't, he wasn't rolling out of the pocket and scrambling in the months of May and June, which I think is a good idea by design for the Colts, just knowing that there's no reason to push it then. But Daniel Jones has been very bullish on his own health and return this entire time. And, based on what he's shown, you don't doubt him whatsoever. So that's going to be a huge storyline to see just physically what he looks like and what he can do coming up next Wednesday.
Yeah. And again, getting his leadership back out on that field, especially the way he started out so hot last year, I think is so important. But it doesn't really matter who the quarterback is or who the running backs are, unless you have an offensive line that you can depend upon. Where do you think they are there with the Colts offensive line that they got coming back?
Well, they're returning 4 out of 5 starters.
Right.
And the one guy they are replacing is, I don't want to downplay him. He's a really, really good player. Left in free agency. He's been very, very solid throughout the course of his career, and that's Braden Smith. But every team, every year across the league.
That dude is amazing. He's doing football and basketball.
How about that, right? Yeah. But I mean, every team has got to replace important players every year, and you just can't bring back everybody. You know, guys sort of age out of their contracts, or in this case, you got to make tough decisions at more, I should say, at other premium positions. And so, for the Colts, they had to make a decision that the key pieces of their offseason were going to be financially bringing back Daniel Jones and Alec Pierce. And so you got to draft and you have to develop and you have to always have guys waiting in the wings, excuse me. And that's where Jalen Travis comes into place. A guy they drafted last year, got some run as a rookie, did a very serviceable job, played both right tackle and left tackle, got some starts at both positions a year ago. So they think just from a physical standpoint, he's got the makeup to get it done, plus the mental makeup side to be able to be a plug-and-play guy at the right tackle position. So, I mean, the left side's incredibly solid with Nelson and Ryman over there. Then you got the center and Tanner Bortolini, who started for the first time a year ago. And now Jalen Travis filling in for Braden Smith. So, that's the key. Daniel Jones, his mental IQ and makeup at the line of scrimmage, plus his scrambling ability and mobility, and the above-average offensive line last year in terms of protection, really helped this offense click and reach historical heights those first 10 games of the season a year ago when they were 8-2 and everybody was healthy.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Keep going, brother.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to double check here. Do we need to jump out here and take a break, and then Matt can? I think he can. He probably wants to go here because I don't know what time he needed to go. But Matt, are you still good? I've got
a meeting here in about a couple of minutes. Get him
10 o'clock. Out. That's okay. Let's just let him get out. And appreciate you, my friend. Look forward to getting back on with you next week. And enjoy this upcoming weekend. Hopefully the weather. Are you going out to the track? I know you're a big IndyCar guy, but do you go out to the Brickyard at all?
I haven't in the recent past. I've done before, but the last 4 or 5 years I haven't been able to get out there. And this weekend it's kind of covered up with softball again with my daughter. So I'll be sweating to the oldies out in left field at the softball fields.
Enjoy it, my friend. Love you very much. Appreciate you, sir.
All right, guys. Be good. Have a good weekend.
Absolutely. You as well. Hey, more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Back with all of that and more right after these messages.
Andy Moore Honda Bloomington has the deals for you, like great savings on the remaining 2025 Hondas. First-time buyers get more than expected. The Honda Civic and HR-V are the most popular vehicles for first-time buyers in the U.S. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington also has a quality selection of pre-certified used vehicles. And check out the selection of Andy Moore Honda Bloomington's 2026 models, like the Honda Passport, Honda CR-V Hybrid, Honda Ridgeline, and more. ISB Radio with Jim Coyle is brought to you exclusively on The Zone by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Bored, Bloomington? Dave and Buster's can fix that. Eat and drink your way through our all-new menu. Play half-price games every Sunday through Thursday. Watch all your team's wins on a 40-foot screen and 30 HD TVs. And level all up with the high-flying human crane that puts you in the game. Private game suites, our exclusive arena, and more. Only at Dave and Buster's on 731 South College Mall Road.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Thursday. I hope you are having a great one because that weather's awful sweet looking outside the window, man. And I know the temperatures have been phenomenal as compared to what they were. No 90 degrees today, baby. None yesterday, in the 70s. And that's how you like it, especially in July. That doesn't come along very often. But take it while you can get it because those are bonus days. It's supposed to hit upper 80s and 90s in July and August. So when you get the days like we have right now, these Chamber of Commerce days, you just got to enjoy what you got. It looks like we got a little bit of Darren DeVries that we'll be hearing from, and our man's going to join us back, I believe, and Dustin Schutte here in a little bit. So I guess we'll go ahead and hit up Coach DeVries and see what he's got to say.
Yeah, hey, Coach. In terms of when you have an overwhelming...
We'll just go straight to Dustin Schutte as he is coming in. He's back. He's back. And hey, have we had any kids yet?
No.
No kids yet. Has the pressure begun to mount? Dustin just was recently married. Has it been a month yet?
Yes, it's been almost 2.
But who's counting?
Exactly,
Has there been? We're going to have some hard-hitting questions here. But has the pressure begun to mount from parties outside of the husband and the wife about, let's go, where are the kids? Get the kids on the ground. Let's have them. Grandkids.
Not to my knowledge, and not to me directly. Now, whether she's receiving any pressure, I don't know. But
you know it. Let me tell you, you would know it.
But I have not gotten any pressure from any outside sources.
Have you seen my new haircut on the? I know that those listening on radio can't see that, but I'm trying to show off my new haircut to everybody. Have you noticed anything about it?
I have.
Yeah, what stands out the most?
I can't tell who that is in that photo.
Oh, man, it's supposed to be me, but it looks more like Brad Pitt.
Oh. It looked like Rob Lowe a little bit. I couldn't tell who it was.
It's a young Brad Pitt. I was having trouble getting the pictures lined up that I wanted to. I was trying to get one of Tom Cruise in there that was, because I think that one's a little bit too small, but I'm doing whatever I can to make myself look better, brother. Just doing whatever I can. So are you home in SLU in St. Louis?
No, I'm in West Lafayette at the moment. This has been a busy week for me, so I came here to check out the team in practice, get a few other things done, and then I actually have a high school 20-year reunion on Saturday. So it all worked out that this all collected in the same week. So I'm able to just stay here.
Saturday?
Yes.
What high school?
Lewis Cass.
Lewis Cass. You know, that sounds like a relative of the Mama Cass. Was Lewis Cass related to Mama Cass?
Not to my knowledge, but it is where Ted Kitchell went to high school, if that helps.
Oh, people. Right. Yeah.
So
I did not know that. But that's a great claim to fame.
Just a short 1 hour drive to Manchester University, previously college.
Ooh, are they Division I yet? Everybody, that's the thing. That's the rage. Everybody has to be Division I now.
Yeah, I don't think that's in the works anytime soon.
Yesterday, one of my nurses has a daughter who is being looked at by a lot of NAIA schools for basketball. She plays for Fishers. And we were talking about the money situation, and I'm like, she's like, oh no, man, NAIA is the way to go now. And I'm like, really? I'm like, where the hell are NAIA schools coming up with money? because NAIA, for those of you that don't know, you've got NCAA, Division I, Division II, Division III, and then I think now it just goes to NAIA, which Indiana University in New Albany, it's Southeast, IU Southeast. That's an NAIA school, but they're just much smaller schools. But yet, I'm like, where are they coming up with this money for that stuff? She says, yeah, it's crazy. And I'm like going, yeah, it sounds like it, because who the hell would provide those kind of funds? But apparently it's the thing.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. But I will share it. Then Griff can attest to this because he coached during. Now this was always my favorite game to go to as a student at Manchester. And I think it was always week 1. Was the game they would play at old Tri-State or now Trine University, because both ways, whether that game was at Trine or at Manchester, it was like the stadium was full. Trine would bus kids in. I think Manchester at least one year had a bus that took kids up to Trine. It wasn't a rivalry game, but it was like it had kind of a small D1 feel to it. Like it was a bunch of community people were there. It was exciting because it was like students, their first game. But that game was always a lot of fun to go to. And there were a couple, the fun thing about D3 was like you always had friends that either played or went to other schools. So we did a lot of road trips and had a lot of friendly wagers on those games. It was a lot of fun.
You mind if we dance with your dates?
And those were Thursday night kickoff games too. We did that because that was the weekend of Labor Day. So we did Thursday night kickoffs and brought a little nostalgia to the Division III mentality of playing Thursday night games. So that was a lot of fun and had a lot of good games and wish I'd have won more of them, but
I forgot that they were Thursday because I can't remember, but I want to say that every other game that I went to was like a 1:00 kickoff.
Yeah, usually that's what they are.
They were pretty consistent with that. So that was the other element, that it was a night game and it was fun just to get under the lights. I'm sure that was a lot of fun for everybody coaching and playing as well. But I always enjoyed being up close too, because at Manchester, the bleachers are right up against that sideline. And I remember, this guy does not know who I am, but I would remember Ron Plants was so intense.
I think know who I am.
Well, he would have had no idea who I was. I think maybe he taught a bowling class I was in one time. Maybe I can't but it was intense. Those games were a lot of fun. I think everybody needs to go, whether it's a school you're close to or like the Monon Bell game this year is going to be at Schumann Stadium in Muncie. That's a lot of fun. But the D3 games are actually they're a lot of fun for people who are involved, especially if you can get one of those unique, whether it's a rivalry game or it's a special. I think the Trine game was also like an ice cream social, so there was an added incentive to go to the game.
Right. Wait, what? Whoa, what?
Ice cream, free ice cream, Jim.
Between the two teams.
No, just for the people that were in attendance. The teams had bigger. I was
going to say, man, we'd have been throwing ice cream at each other if that had been the two teams going at it. But that sounds lovely if they had, as long as they had, butter pecan, favorite ice cream. Favorite ice cream there, Schutte, Dustin.
Usually like chocolate chip cookie dough.
Absolutely. Number one choice, the only choice.
Yeah.
No, butter pecan, baby. Oh. Southern butter pecan. I love it with mint chocolate chip number 2.
That's a good number 2.
That's solid. Yeah.
Hey, I do have one. I do have a question for you there, Dustin, about
sports. Is it about sports or food? We turned this into a food show.
Well, I can't talk about food since I'm kind of losing that weight and I don't eat as much now. So I'm 85, down 85 pounds to date after January 1. So anyway, more about me later. Basketball. Let's get into the basketball point because I saw this the other day. that Purdue's trying to sign a big man from, I think it was France. Now,
no,
there is
a big man. They don't usually have big men on their team.
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
They're trying to get
especially from outside of the country.
Well, this one's unique because there may be a situation there because it sounds as if he may have played 2 years of pro over in the Euro Pro League. So they're not quite sure yet on his status, but kind of update us on, I can't even remember his name because it's, French name. So you can fill us in on the French name. But I noticed that a little bit of controversy the other day about that and whether or not he's going to be eligible.
Yeah. So Yeah, not quite that complex. Enzo Sharvin is a 6'7" big man. He played for Paris basketball for 2 years. You're correct on that. He is going to be, if he is eligible, a one and done type of player, not because of the this is going to sound bad, but not because of the talent aspect, but because of the NCAA's 5 to play. He is 23, and you obviously can't play past 24. So this would be his only year of eligibility if he is eligible. So he arrived in West Lafayette last weekend. He is with the team and he is practicing. However, he cannot compete. And as you mentioned, he can't even play in the international series when they play the 4 games in Canada. So they don't expect that situation to be resolved before that. I don't know if they have an expectation of when it will be resolved, but it is a unique situation. They believe that they have a case that he's going to be eligible. And if he is, they are going, he's a guy that is not, how do I say that? He's a skilled player, but he's not like a Trey Kaufman-Wren, a Caleb Swanigan. He's going to be just kind of that bruiser in the post. He's going to be a guy who can get rebounds, box out, and help other guys on the board and maybe bring a level of physicality. If nothing else, he'd be at least a good practice player to help them develop that kind of toughness that they're going to need on the interior. But it is a unique situation. This is the first time that I can remember. I know Illinois has done this a lot. I think there's some other programs who have gone overseas and gotten some of those guys, but this is a first for Purdue, so it's kind of new waters. They feel like he's going to be eligible, but obviously with the NCAA, there are no guarantees. But if he is deemed eligible, this will be his only year of eligibility at Purdue. So he's only going to be here for 1 season. They're hoping to have him so he can bring that level of physicality, that toughness. I don't think he would be a starter. He might be a rotation player, but we'll just see. Yeah, that's the case. He is in West Lafayette, and he was practicing the other day. I mean, and the big thing that stood out is anytime you have a 23-year-old, like he looks like a grown man out there.
Yeah, right.
So, it is a little bit different. We'll see how this goes. But my understanding is they don't expect a ruling really from the NCAA probably until at least August. I don't know what the timeline is, though, for a decision from the organization.
Scientology, baby. It's where it's at. No doubt. It's hard for people. I guarantee I'm going in so many different directions. It's hard for people to keep up with right now. Hey, did Braden Smith, did he play in the summer league?
Yes, he did.
Yep.
How did he do? What was the what happened with that?
I would say he was. Yeah, I would say he was solid. Like he did not. His shooting could have been much better. He did not shoot.
He wasn't very good shooting the ball.
He's not a shooter. I mean, he's never been a shooter.
Yeah, he was a good distributor though. I think he averaged close to 2 steals per game. So he got things done on the defensive end. The last 3 games, I think he totaled, I got to do my math. I think he totaled 26 assists in the last 3 summer league games. So an average of around 8-9 assists per game. So that's pretty good. He's got some work to do. I mean, he signed him to a 2-way contract. I expect him to be kind of a TJ McConnell type player. And I think that's what the Pacers are kind of looking for, because TJ has, with the exception of that season when they made the run to the NBA Finals, I don't think he's played in more than 65 games or 7, something like that. So if you could call Braden up to play consistently, maybe 15 or 20 games during the regular season and fill that TJ McConnell role, I think that's what they want for him this season. And then if he can prove that he can do that consistently, he'll carve out a roster spot for himself somewhere in the NBA. But I mean, not his best showing especially from a shooting perspective, but passed the ball really well, brought some energy, got things done defensively, and I think that's really what the Pacers need. They've got enough shooting and scoring that they don't need that. They need somebody who's going to distribute, somebody who has a high basketball IQ and can get his teammates involved, and I think he did a pretty good job of doing that.
Yeah, but T.J. McConnell is 6'4", and Braden Smith is 5'4".
No, so TJ is six. TJ's 6 foot.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, he's only 6 foot tall.
I didn't know that. I did think he was 6'4". I'm not kidding.
No, he might be listed at 6'1", but I think it's 6 foot. And but to your point, like Braden Smith, it's still an inch and a half. I think Braden was 5'10" and a half or 5'10" and 3/4. So there is still a little bit of a size differential there. But again, if you're not, he didn't seem to have a problem getting shots up over guys. It was just he was off the mark a little bit. So to me, it's like if you can get in the gym and work on that shot a little bit more frequently and you can get it to go 40% of the time, that's enough of a scoring threat in the NBA when you're an elite distributor. But, I mean, you look at some of the other guys, like Steve Nash wasn't that tall, Chris Paul. And I'm not saying Braden Smith is going to be the next Steve Nash or Chris Paul or anything like that. But I think that there is a spot for a player who can facilitate really well, who can bring energy off the bench. So to me, yeah, I don't think the size thing is going to be a huge issue for him if he can, like I said.
So you're saying size doesn't matter.
That's what I'm telling you when it comes to Braden Smith. That's right.
There's no doubt that Braden Smith has the desire, has the want to. I can guarantee you he has that in spades. And if he's able to find, be called up for whether it's a cup of coffee or whatever, it will be because of his desire. I don't know that it happens. And if it does, I think it's going to be short term. I just don't think that it's there. But when you have the desire and that he does, and you have the want to that he does, I mean, it's a lot of it is wanting to prove people like me wrong, and I get it. And whatever it takes, it doesn't matter. He has that in him, and if he does, I'll be the first one to congratulate him because that's a hard road to accomplish. But we'll certainly see. But there's that. What else is new?
Oh man, not much, but things are about to get new, right? We've got Big Ten Media Days next week. Are
you going up to Chicago for football?
We'll see. We'll see. I've come to the conclusion that there isn't much that you learn from Big Ten Media Days. So, and when you pay your own travel, is it worth the cost? We'll see. So I may be there, I may not be, but regardless, there's going to be at least something to talk about football wise, whether it's what Barry Odom says or what one of the couple of guys from Purdue says. Well, but you never know. So, but that'll be new. Again, Purdue's going on that Canada trip on the basketball side. Volleyball gets in full swing, so we're going to have a lot of content up on the website here. That's actually not just projections and predictions and stuff. We're going to have some, whether it's talking season, whether it's, performance in Canada or whatever the case might be, we're going to have some things to talk about here in the next month. And I could use it because summer's usually pretty dry for content. So I'm ready to get things ramped back up and start talking about Purdue and Big Ten sports again.
Yeah, it's that time, though, to where things start turning around because whether it's the media days, yesterday we talked a lot about the SEC and the ACC, but the SEC running their mouth about whatever they can try to make up and run their mouth about.
Well, is there another league that they just pick up their ball and go home more okay, so Greg Sankey talked about separating from the NCAA or not using proper metrics for strength of schedule. Like, what are you? I don't even understand what that.
Because they can't win. It's like, damn. Well, we can't win on the football field, so let's get something where we can pretend that we win at.
Well, and that's to me that's what I mean. Who are you looking at in terms of strength of schedule? What are you like? You look at the Big Ten; it's consistently had the best teams in college football. Like, I'm sorry.
Not according to the SEC. They're
I know. It's all based off
Eli
of
Drinkwitz says the middle of the SEC is better, and I keep saying, I've said it over and over. Well, that's why Vanderbilt got smoked by Iowa. That's why they went 2-7 against teams outside of the SEC in the postseason. They get smoked, man. They suck. They are what they are, and they're not good.
I can't remember if Griff and I talked about this or if this was on another show that I did. But the thing that was crazy.
You did another show besides this one? I didn't know about that.
Sorry.
I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
No, I know. But in ESPN released its strength of schedule rankings, all 16 SEC teams were in the top 20 in strength of schedule. And I think Ohio State, Northwestern, Michigan, and I can't remember who the fourth team was, were the only other teams in the top 20. And this, so you've to me, it's clearly skewed towards the SEC ESPN metrics. So I don't understand.
And you know why? Because ESPN is promoting the SEC, whose games that they carry.
I know. So but I wanted to know. Greg Sankey always talks about the metrics. Well, what metrics are you looking at? Why don't you show them
their own?
Maybe he has, but I'm sure there's some sort of formula that they've construed that makes the SEC look greater than everybody else. And it's probably all comes back down to recruiting rankings and strength of schedule. But I don't know what the metrics he's looking at are. So,
Coach,
go ahead.
If they keep talking about taking their ball and going home, where are they going to go? What are you going to create your own little TV league that you already have on ESPN that involves all the southeastern states? Who cares? Go ahead. I don't care. I don't care. Go away. Just shut up. I am really sick and tired of that mantra. It's like, man, you all dominated in an era where you were paying players, and now guess who went to court over and over and over and had judges who graduated from their own schools giving them the injunctive relief that they needed, in whether it was football or basketball. But it's over. The SEC maintains to be the biggest cheating organization in the history of cheating, I think. Left everybody speechless.
Yeah, left everybody speechless is right. Well, yeah, it's a unique scenario there with ESPN and our friends down south. And when you even said that, Dustin, they were showing that the top 10 teams in strength of schedule are all SEC teams. Sure. So they're already making the case that 10 should make the playoffs this year.
Tennessee, I keep bringing this up. I brought it up 1,000 times. Tennessee was a quote-unquote top 25 team all year last year. How many teams did they beat that had a winning record? How many top 25 teams did they beat all season? Quick answer, Alex, for 500, 0 and 0. It's just crap. It's what they want it to be as opposed to what it really is.
Yeah, I mean,
don't look at the man behind the curtain. It's that type of mentality.
Yeah. I mean, I think
he is the Wizard of Oz. He's that little bitty guy behind the curtain, and until he gets exposed. They've gotten exposed, but it's like they just ignore that they've been exposed and keep pretending that they're still behind the curtain.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they've, they ran college football for so long, and I don't think they expected the Big Ten to have this type of success in the NIL area. I think they believed that they were going to continue to have the most money, have the best donors, have the best teams, and they haven't been the same. So not only is the Big Ten, it's not like it's been Ohio State every year. It's been 3 different champions. So you can I think they're just flabbergasted that somebody came in and has been able to dethrone them as the king of college football. And really the Big Ten in every sport. They had the champion in football. They had the champion in men's basketball, women's basketball. I'm sure there were other sports there that I'm not that, maybe some of the Olympic sports and stuff, but the Big Ten pretty much dominated the major sports this past year. And it's all these schools in the Big Ten have huge alumni bases, major donors, I think more so than the SEC thought. So they're trying to figure out a way to get more teams in. The push to expand the NCAA tournament was one of Greg Sankey's big pushes. That's not going to benefit smaller schools. That's not going to benefit mid-majors. That's going to benefit the SEC and some of these other power now the Big Ten will be a beneficiary of that as well, but there's going to be other conferences that make money off of this stuff. And I don't know. I guess he's doing his job, but it comes off awfully whiny to most of us.
Well, and to everybody. And what cracks me up is, I'm trying to think of examples where you continue to tell this story that is nothing but a load of crap, but you continue to tell it as if you believe it and that it is as true can be, when it is as far from the truth as possible. But it doesn't matter. They're just going to continue to spiel and spew this malarkey out, and eventually even the most common sports fan will be able to say, okay, something is not adding up here. You guys keep getting your ass handed to you in the playoffs. You guys are not doing this, but yet you keep saying you are because you want to say you are, but there's nothing to back up what you're saying.
Yeah, it all speaks with on-field success. And by the way, the SEC hasn't been bad. This is basically where the Big Ten was a few years ago. They had some really good teams. They just weren't winning national championships. And so you can have good seasons that just aren't championship seasons. Collectively, the SEC is still a really good conference. It's just not as dominant. And again, when you expand the field and you have to include more teams, you could have made the thing that always bugged me about this is when there was a 14 playoff, and this still kind of bugs me. I don't understand how it wasn't a conflict of interest for ESPN to have a partnership with the SEC, to have the SEC network, and then have all of the college football playoff, the ranking shows, the bowl games, all that. Then they had a vested interest in how far those teams made it, right? So to me, there was incentive to put more SEC teams in the 14 playoff for those teams to be more successful. So when you expand the field and you have 12 teams, what was Ohio State's seed when they won? Were they an 8 seed? I know Indiana this past year was the top seed. So that wasn't, they earned that and would have won it in the 14 field. But I think Ohio State, at the end of the 24 season, they wouldn't have even been in the 14 field, but they were one of the best teams in the country and proved it by winning the national championship. Mm-hmm. So when you expand that field and you open it up to everybody, you can see that hey, you can stumble along the way and you can still have major success. So again, the SEC, it's not like the SEC fell off and they're suddenly the Big 12 or the ACC. They're still a very good conference. They're just not as dominant as they think that they should be. And I think you can even say that maybe the Big 10 schedule is tougher than the SEC schedule because the Big 10 can have a couple teams that lose a couple games and still make deep. Penn State made it to the Final Four a couple years ago, and they were, I think, 10-3 or 11, whatever their record was, because they made it to the Big 10 championship game and then got beat by Oregon. So I don't know. It's just interesting, and I think to everybody's point, they just didn't expect the Big 10 to have this type of pull but it is funny to me. As soon as NIL comes into play, the Big 10 starts dominating. Because the SEC. You
mean as soon as it was legal for everybody to pay players?
Correct. Yes, that is what I mean.
Yeah, I'm not going to hide it. I'm going to throw it right out there. Not only that, the players back then, you couldn't transfer with the relative ease you can now. So, now that everybody can pay players and you can move, which I'm not a fan of I do not like guys playing for 4 different teams. I don't care if they stay in the same league, don't stay. That doesn't. I don't even care about that. I hate. Now, I do wonder though, guys, and I'd love to hear your opinions on both your opinions on this. What will it be like if it's able to get back to where you cannot transfer these multiple times, where you get a transfer, but you get, a painful free transfer once, then you got to sit out. How is that going to change things? Because I don't know if it will change it a ton, because a lot of the times it's, you get the guys you need to fill that spot and for that next season, but it will definitely change things a bit. And I wonder what that would be like.
Well, to me, that's the rule that needs to be in place. And I think it would change things a little bit, because you don't have a guy going from, and I'm just going to use it, I don't have a specific player in mind, but you wouldn't have a guy going from, let's say, Ball State to Illinois to Ohio State, right? Like that guy then at Ball State has to make a decision. Where do I want to go next if I have the opportunity? Because that's my next destination and I can't transfer, or if I do, I lose a season of eligibility. So I think it is going to change some, like people are going to have to think, do I want to go out and get that position at Illinois because I can play and get into a Big Ten school, or do I want to hold off? Do I want to stay at Ball State and maybe see if I can get an offer from another Big Ten program later down the road? Do I think I can increase my value? So I think that changes it. The one thing that I think we need to bring back, and maybe this isn't as much of a factor, but every game is so important now. I wouldn't be opposed to coaches putting restrictions on players where it says, I don't care if you transfer within the Big Ten, but you can't transfer to a school that's on our schedule next season. Because whether you want to believe, there's some inside intel there that can get, if tendencies, if a guy played on a team and for a coach for 2 or 3 seasons, and then, automatically, if a guy from Indiana goes to Purdue, he may have, and not to say Purdue would then beat Indiana, obviously, but, getting some inside tendencies and schemes and ideas like that can alter the course of a game. And when every game is so important, I think that's something that doesn't get thought about, but maybe there's probably not enough results there to say that, to dissuade people from doing that. But that's probably a rule I'd like to see brought back, where, again, I don't care if teams play, and the conferences are so big now, it does. But if you were to say you can transfer, but you can't transfer to a school that's on our schedule next season, I would be okay with that too. So there's a lot of things that I think can change in the transfer market. And I say that, and now I've got to head out because I'm pushing up against my checkout time here, fellas. So thank you.
Buddy, we appreciate you. I've got to talk to you guys next week. Yeah, go do that studying. Next week, I want you to have a flag or a sign so you can pick it. All of those things, and we'll discuss that then. But great week.
Sounds good.
Have a great weekend, my friend.
You guys too. Take care.
Dustin Schutte, Boilers on SI. Make sure you give him a follow. And we're going to take a pause for the cause. We'll turn with Coach Griff and talk about the fact of the end of the era of conference championships. I think it's coming, if it hasn't already been determined. But back with more right after these messages.
Dave & Buster's Bloomington is the place to eat, drink, play, and watch. Enjoy half-price games Sunday through Thursday, plus a new menu and next-level upgrades like private game suites and the high-flying human crane. Only at Dave & Buster's Bloomington on South College Mall Road.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage, and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
You're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area? You need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Andy Moore Honda Bloomington has the deals for you, like great savings on the remaining 2025 Hondas. First-time buyers get more than expected. The Honda Civic and HR-V are the most popular vehicles for first-time buyers in the U.S. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington also has a quality selection of pre-certified used vehicles. And check out the selection of Andy Moore Honda Bloomington's 2026 models, like the Honda Passport, Honda CR-V Hybrid, Honda Ridgeline, and more. ISB Radio with Jim Coyle is brought to you exclusively on The Zone by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer.
Bored, Bloomington? Dave and Buster's can fix that. Eat and drink your way through our new menu. Play half-price games every Sunday through Thursday. Watch your teams on the big screen and level it all up with the high-flying human crane. Private game suites and more, only at 731 South College Ball Road.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Thursday. Beautiful Thursday out there. Chamber of Commerce weather the last 2 days. Temps in the 70s. I know those that can are out getting some golf in probably, or walks in, or whatever the case may be. That would not be me, unfortunately, but I will pretend that it is. But yeah, I mentioned on the way out of the last segment, conference championships could go away as soon as this year because of the revamp. There's still not been a determination of what the future of the CFP is going to be like as far as expansion and how many schools are going to, or teams are going to expand to. I guess that's going to depend on how much whining and moaning and complaining the SEC does. And I'm sick and tired of it. I really wish that the other conferences would just come together and say, look, Greg Sankey, shut up. Just shut up. Nobody cares about your opinion anymore. You've got nothing to back up the BS that you're trying to spew out to everybody, because here's the reality of the situation. Your teams got smoked. You didn't do jack squat in the postseason. You got beat by every conference. The Big Ten handled you. The Big Ten has won 3 straight national titles. You haven't even been in a national championship game. As a matter of fact, the ACC was in the championship game last year. Not you, the ACC, which was viewed as the weakest of the Power 4 conferences. So where does that put you? And none of your crap excuses about being beat up, that's an excuse. It's nothing but a lying excuse, because these teams you're claiming are so good are not good. Vanderbilt loses to Iowa, who was a good team. And as a matter of fact, Iowa should have been in the college football playoffs had they not lost. If they had lost one less game, I truly believe they would have been in. And they lost those 4 games by a total of I think it was 15 points. We saw how Indiana had trouble there winning at Iowa. It's a tough place to go play and win at. It's a tough. They've just always been good. They've not been great, but they're on the precipice of that, Coach. They're right there, but they're good, really good. They're not, and they're not. You don't hear. Dang on it. What's the coach's name there at Iowa? How can I? Brain fog. Iowa football coach's name. Coach, what's his name?
Yeah, me and you both are not good in that category. But
what's Iowa's football coach's name?
Ferentz.
Kirk Ferentz. You don't hear him going around saying, well, if this and if that and if the other thing, we'd be this. No, not once. You didn't hear him complaining that we should be in because of this, that, and the other. Because you know what? He accepts the facts. The facts are even though they lost 4 games by a grand total of 15 points, that, yeah, they were truly better. They were better than a couple of the teams that were in. But you didn't hear him whining and complaining about it. You didn't hear Tony Petitti complaining and whining about Iowa not getting in because, hey, we get it. They lost 4 games. You're just not going to get in with 4 losses, even though it was to 4 ranked teams. And the one out of conference loss was to Iowa State, one of the better teams in the Big 12. So my point is, nobody's whining about that. The only people that are whining and complaining is the SEC, because they've got nothing to do but whine and complain because they do not have proof on their side.
Yeah, they use the strength of schedule to try to prove a point now, but it doesn't finish that way at the end of the season when everybody plays their games. It all changes. And then the fact is that you can't get a gauge on, like, for instance, Iowa was a good football team last year in the Big Ten, but the perception nationally was they weren't that good until they went to the bowl game and beat Vandy. Then all of a sudden, wow, they must be pretty good. And you could even throw in the fact that Penn State was a preseason number one going into last year's season. Things didn't go well, but that didn't mean they were not still a very good team, as we know they were when Indiana went to Penn State and had to have a miraculous catch to beat them. But they were still a darn good football team that had a lot of top talent there. Things just didn't go well. But everybody thinks because of the way Penn State records was last year that they stunk. Well, that's not, we know that's not the case, but everybody wants to try to use these measuring sticks that is so subjective. It's to your benefit on how you want it to come out. There's no way of overly challenging it other than, like you said, the games are decided on the field. So when the Big Ten played the SEC last year, the Big Ten had a lot more success in those games than the SEC did. And therefore, that's the answer to the $64,000 question of last year. But again, I think the conference championships will go if they can get this number of playoff teams in to go up. I know the Big Ten wants 24. The SEC doesn't want to go more than 16. They got to find a compromise somewhere because they got to have an answer before the end of the year. Otherwise, it stays at 12 for another year.
And I don't know why. I'm not going to pretend that I do. It's funny. A couple of guys in the comments section saying I must be feeling better. I'm getting fired up. Well, nothing makes me feel better than to have stuff to get fired up about. And I love it and I miss it. I swear it does. It gets your heart rate going. I'm sure that the docs are not happy if they're seeing my blood pressure right now, but I love it. I love it. It is. It's great. It's great for recovery. But I don't know why that Tony Petitti wants 24. I don't know why Greg Sankey wants 16. Now, if I'm guessing, I would guess because Greg Sankey knows that if it's 24, they're going to not have more SEC teams in than they're going to have in with 16, and that they have more chances of getting their asses beat by other teams. Seriously, that's my thought. And oh my gosh, I would love to see that. And this doesn't have to be by Big Ten teams. I would love to see every SEC team get smoked by a team from the Big Ten, from the ACC, from the Big 12, from the group of 6 or whatever. That would be a dream come true. Just a dream come true. But I can't say I'm a fan of the 24 because there are not 24 teams that can win the national championship. And in football, you run a higher risk, as you know from coaching, you run a higher risk of injury with each game. And so if you're playing an extra game against a team, then it really doesn't matter because the odds of an upset happening are very, very low. That it's an unnecessary game, probably. It's an unwanted game. But I don't know why. My only guess as to why Tony Petitti wants a 24 is because that might be the only way to get more Big Ten teams in because of the BS bias about the SEC that they created and they're still trying to cultivate, that the SEC is just better. It's not just better. So shut up, people. But that's something I don't have that answer to, and I'm not going to try to and give a fake one right now until we figure that out. And it doesn't really matter because they'll end up deciding what they want to do. Maybe it's because Tony Petitti just wants to flex a little Big Ten muscle. Maybe he just wants to, say, hey, you know what? No, we're sick and tired of you dictating terms. Go ahead,
Hey,
brother.
There you go.
I was just waiting for you to respond.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear you because you kind of dropped out there a little bit. But I would say this. The 2014 aspect that Tony Petitti is trying to sell is the fact that they want these play-in games. They want to do away with the conference championships and have play-in games. Now, whether that would be cross conferences or however that would look, that's kind of the idea, is having the play-in games and having one or two more games potentially on a campus, with a team that's, better ranked or whatever hosting. That's kind of the mindset that they're thinking. And then that way, in theory, you're going to get the best teams that are playing the best football at that time into the tourney and continue on in the tourney. So that is that reason of the 24 is, in my opinion. Now, the SEC and Tony Petitti, I think they don't want to go more than 16 because they want their partner to keep the broadcasting rights. Because if it goes beyond,
you're dead on. I forgot about that. That, and you are dead on, because they want them to control the mantra, control the bias, and I have to say, the ACC portion of ESPN's coverage, they are the most biased. But again, I think that's because the ACC is viewed as the least of the Power 4 conferences now. But when I was watching, I rewatch the games a lot after they're played, and I was rewatching the ACC portion of they'll play the game, and you've got the commentators that are all ACC based, and then you've got, although they didn't have that for the Big Ten, I noticed, but Jimbo Fisher and all that crew, it was so funny. I'm like, oh, you're not even trying to hide it. You're just being pathetic with how your bias is. But yeah, that I agree with you 1,000%.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the big reason, because if it doesn't, then it goes to more of it has to go back to a bid and so forth and so on, and it would keep that monopoly from happening, and you'd get more of a fair share of people holding games in an equal fashion until you got down to a manageable number of teams. So that's my feeling on it all. I don't know if they can compromise on this and whether their positions are the positions. But like I said, if they don't have a decision by like the first of the year, it automatically stays where it's at the 12 teams, and we'll have this continuing conversation.
Absolutely. And Midwest Boxing, I come back tomorrow with that question. I'm not exactly sure what you're asking. He's asking something to do with Mark Boyle and Bob Lamey. I'm assuming that there's been a shakeup in the broadcast crew for the Pacers games, but I'm not going to lie. I'm not up to speed on everything at the moment. But come back tomorrow. Let us know more about what you talk about. But I think it's time for us to go, right?
Yeah, we need to get out of here so we can get ourselves ready for tomorrow.
All right, buddy. Well, I can't thank everybody enough. As always, I'm grateful to each and every one of you, and I truly, truly mean that. I'm grateful for all the well wishes. I am so grateful to Coach Griff. I cannot tell you, people, how integral he has been in keeping the show. The show must go on, or I go away. But if it hadn't have been for Coach Griff, the show wouldn't have gone on. And I will say that every day until I die. And I'm so grateful. I'm trying to think of something really cool to get him as a gift for this. But I'm going to try to think of something really nice. But brother, I love you for life, and I'm so grateful. And I'm going to have to say that every day. You have been a godsend, as are each and every one of our listeners, man, and our guests and others that have pitched in. Scott Agnes, who was there for a couple of days, but the guests have all, JD and everybody. I cannot thank all of you enough. I love you all to death. And until tomorrow, I love getting to say it. I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.